Night, sat up and watched Lessons in Chemistry, Season 1, Episode 7, The Book of Calvin. Don't cease to amaze me. Every episode, I mean, they're just doing it for me. This was kind of like the dark horse this season. I was not expecting to feel the way I feel about a show, about this show in particular. So we know everything that's been going on, and we know how season episode 6 ended with Mad talking to Reverend Curtis and him saying, "Your dad is Calvin Evans." And we're like, what? Episode opens up. And this is all about Calvin. Everything about his life that we know from a child to present day. So we're immediately seeing this little awkward boy, I believe. And he's in a boys' home and he just wants to be loved. He wants a family. Every time, someone comes in and they're pulling a little boy to be adopted, you kind of get this knowing like this he wants this to be him. So we are looking, and this one time a man pulls up in this really fancy car, comes in and is speaking with the cardinal, which I guess is the who runs the boys' home, the orphanage. And Calvin's like, "I feel like he was here to see me. Was he here to see me?" And he was like, "Calvin, I wouldn't put you around those people. You're special, you're this, you're that, but you don't want to be in a home with them." And so automatically you're like, something is up with this clergyman. I don't know what the deal is. And it wasn't revealed in this episode, but we know something was up with him. Again, Calvin, this idea, this need, this desire, of course, to belong and have family, which we all have. And so that's really emphasized in the beginning of the episode. And so later on, we kind of see him grow, right? We see him when he first starts at Hastings Labs and he goes and he does a lecture at Harvard. And who is at Harvard but Reverend Curtis? Because apparently he went to the Harvard School of Divinity. And so he's there, and during the lecture, I guess he's so moved by Calvin, he decides that he's going to write Calvin. And so he writes him, and he's like, I loved your talk on chemistry, whatever the topic was, but is there room for God in this? Why can the twain not meet, right? Why can't there be both? Which is what I ascribe to. And really, Reverend Curtis was preaching in this episode. He really was. And so we see the beginning, the budding, the early stages of this friendship. And so they're going back and forth, writing to each other, each time bearing a little bit more of themselves, asking each other questions, which is so beautiful because I'm always of the mindset that dissenting opinions are beautiful, right? Why would you want to be surrounded with people who agree with every single thing that you agree with? There is a way to respectfully dissent and still be able to nurture a loving relationship. Calvin, a staunch atheist, and this whole pastor, right? This whole preacher become the best of friends, writing letters. Even so much so when the Reverend's father took ill with cancer, Calvin was able to convince him to begin treatment. When Calvin was struggling with, being alone, Pastor Curtis inspiring him to find another person. You know what I mean? That there was love out there, that you want to do life in community. You want to do life with someone. Such a beautiful story. And so then later on in the episode, we see Pastor Curtis come to the house. And of course, Matt is so excited. She's like, "Oh my gosh." And he's like, "I brought you the letters." And he's got stacks of letters. And Elizabeth is like, "Hey, put off." And I get it. And she's like, "I don't want to introduce a lot of people in her life that I can't trust." Because again, their relationship, he and Mad's relationship of connecting over this we know it was innocent. But of course, as a mom, you're like, okay. And so to find out that he knows all about Elizabeth. I never knew you were Calvin's Elizabeth. It was so beautiful to kind of see that interaction and see this burgeoning friendship. We also got to see Calvin when he met Harriet and her husband, which was also really cute, and how Calvin longed for that. I mean, in the beginning, I will be honest and say that I was kind of like, why did you write this book this way? Why did you write this story this way? It was like he finally had gotten that family, that person, and then it was all snatched away. But then when I thought about it, it was like, well, he finally got it. You know what I mean? I guess it's just the way you look at it. It's still tragic. I'm so glad we didn't have to see that bus scene again, because that I couldn't have handled that. But really a beautiful story, a beautiful story within the story. And what I say, Calvin, all his Calvin's friends was black. From Reverend Curtis to the pastor to to Harriet, to her husband. That was his neighborhood. That was Calvin, but he was so good, and I loved how we also got to see the other side of him. We got to see that angst, and that anger, and that unfulfilled, or I guess, yeah, that part of him that was still unfulfilled, that part that it was still seeking. It was vulnerable, it was beautiful, it was tastefully done. And I don't know if it was heartbreaking or hopeful. I guess it's all in your perspective, but it was a fabulous episode. And I'm ready to see what's going to happen in the next one. I don't know, I think this only has 8 episodes. So this was episode 7. We're in for the finale next week, maybe. Anyway, guys, what did you think of the episode? Put it down in the comments below if you're still here. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in the next video.